Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Black Logic. So this evening, I want to talk very quickly about Eric Adams. I have some other news stories for your update this evening. So Daniel Sassoon, the acting U.S. attorney for the Southern District Court of New York, has resigned after being directed by the Department of Justice to drop the bribery case against New York City Mayor Eric Adams. Now, of course, I'm pretty sure Donald Trump, someone in that department, told them to drop this case against Mayor Adams because Mayor Adams has given his allegiance to Donald Trump, and it saved him. It's a good move by Eric Adams. Again, I think a lot of people, when we look at political pundits, when we look at political figures, and they make these moves that they get off of a criminal court case, or they avoid jail time, or they don't have to pay a particular fine, we look at it, oh, they should do this. And, you know, if we was in that position as well, we would try to protect ourselves and our family, even if we did wrong. That is very few people, and I know there's some goody two shoes out there. It's very few people who say, I did it. What is the punishment? Everybody else, you could be guilty as hell, and you're still gonna be like, what evidence do they have? These allegations against me are false. That's what people are going to say, because that's what most people will do. So again, he made a relationship that granted him immunity from these charges. The actual prosecutor was ordered to drop the case against Mayor Adams because this case involved the accepting of illegal campaign contributions and bribes, including free discounted travel and vacations. The directive had raised concerns about political interference with the Justice Department, leading to the resignation of other officials, including Kevin DeStraw and John Keller. Critics argue that this move compromises the department's independence and integrity. People are trying to save their butts. And that is just the nature of the beast. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of great people out there who would do the right thing regardless of the situation. Then some people would do the right thing if the situation was different. And there's some people who won't. Those are the choices that we essentially usually make. Now, President Trump has announced that Ukraine will have a seat at the table in upcoming peace negotiations with Russia. Okay, so President Trump has allowed President Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, at the peace negotiating table. And this will assure, comes all these amid concerns from Kiev and European allies about being sidelined in potential deals, that Trump's recent call with Russia President Vladimir Putin has heightened these concerns. Like, what are the underlying factors here? Because with European officials, the warning against any agreement that exclude Ukraine. Because I think the European Union and a lot of these political figures have yet to reveal, why did Russia invade Ukraine? There's been a lot of news media and anchors giving their perspectives, and they have been pontificating about what they think. I throw my hat in the ring. I think it's about land. I think about Russian imperialism and trying to increase their land space. I don't know if they wanted all of Ukraine, but I think they wanted strategic parts of Ukraine to be more embedded in middle Europe to a certain degree. Again, countries of, Russia is a very powerful country. When you look at China, Russia, and America, those are the three most powerful countries in the world. And Russia and China are allies. America and Russia, we have a partnership on some things, and us and China is all economic. So we do have relationships with these other countries, which is a good thing. But yeah, we're not allies with either country. I just want for you guys to put that into perspective. So again, hopefully these peace treaties come to an end where there's no more war. But I wonder what Ukraine has to give up, or what is the loss for Russia? What is Russia going to lose? I mean, other than troops, equipment, etc. But I just wonder what's going to come out of this deal. It's going to become public. It would eventually become public. Elon Musk, the leader of DOJ, has accused some federal workers of getting wealthy at the taxpayer expense. And he's been doing these DOJ reviews that's spending across various federal agencies, including NASA, where hundreds of employees have accepted buyout offers. Now, Musk's comments have sparked a lot of controversy, especially given his companies have received substantial government contracts and subsidies. Critics highlight potential conflicts of interest and question the transparency of DOJ action. They have a point. They have a point. The reason why Elon Musk is the richest man in the world is because he's garnered majority of his wealth from government contracts. Don't forget that SpaceX, his space exploration business, has a contract worth billions of dollars from NASA. And where does NASA get their money from? They're a federal government agency. All this is coming from the federal government. I'm not stating foul play here. I'm just connecting the dots. But he then are investigating these government entities of fraud, waste, and abuse. And I think the question is, some of these government officials are asking, did the government overpay Elon Musk? Did we pay him for, did he ask for one rocket, but we paid him for two? And again, should he be investigated? Absolutely. Absolutely. Everybody in government with government contracts should be investigated by DOJ. And he might have to excuse himself during the investigation if they investigate Tesla, SpaceX, Boring Company, etc. He has a lot of businesses. Yeah, they should investigate Elon Musk. They should investigate Rarik Waswamy. They should investigate Kamala Harris. They should investigate Joe Biden. They should investigate Barack Obama. They should investigate Michelle Obama. They should investigate everybody. Just gut it. Just go ahead and gut it. Let's stop the breadcrumbs of all these investigations and illegal immigration. Let's just go for the jugular. Let's just go for the jugular. Let's investigate everybody, because here's the thing. If there are any illegal dealings in Elon Musk's past with these government contracts, then he should not be head of DOJ. And if he's clear and free, then he's good to go and continue to investigate the federal government. See, again, you can't just be a fanboy of someone and not be critical, in my opinion. Then you're just a groupie. A fan and a groupie are two different things. A fan, you see them for their talent, that's good. A groupie, they can do no wrong. But there's something that Elon Musk did come out and post on his Twitter account about DOJ. And he made a really good reference about Democrats. When we look back at William Clinton or Bill Clinton and Al Gore, when we look back at the earlier tapes of Hillary Clinton, they're speaking very conservative. See, the Democrats at one point in time, especially Bill Clinton and Al Gore, was about streamlining the government. They were about condensing the government. They wasn't about large government. There was a new age of Democrats that came in and just wanted to expand the government. So he posted a video on X asking, what happened to these Democrats? I want you guys to listen. They're very, very powerful. What happened to these Democrats? Listen to what they're saying and ask yourself, do they sound like Republicans? Do they sound like conservatives?
This report tells us how to cut waste, cut red tape, streamline the bureaucracy, change procurement rules, change the personnel rules, and create a government that works better and costs less.
I've read it, and where it says the president should, the president will.
Among the 800 recommendations, eliminating 12% of the federal workforce, merging some government agencies like the FBI, the DEA, and the Bureau of Alcohol.
Are you guys listening to this? This is what Al Gore and Bill Clinton was going to do. Eliminating 12% of federal workforce. So some of the things that Donald Trump is doing, the Democrats tried to do it first. Now I wonder for people who are, I'm a Democrat, I'm a liberal. When you see that this is the party of the Democrats back in 1997, that's a really weird year. That the Democrats were trying to do the same thing. They were trying to merge government agencies because, again, they were trying to lower the national debt, and it was going to get rid of 12% of the workforce, of the federal workforce. That's phenomenal.
Tobacco and firearms, closing hundreds of government offices outside Washington.
From the day I took office, one of the commitments that I made to the American people was that we would do a better job here in Washington in rooting out wasteful spending. We thought that it was entirely appropriate for our governments and our agencies to try to root out waste, large and small, in a systematic way. It means cutting some programs that I think are worthy, but we may not be able to afford right now. A lot of the action is in Congress and legislative, but in the meantime, we don't need to wait for Congress in order to do something about wasteful spending that's out there. We haven't seen as much action out of Congress as we'd like, and that's why we launched on our own initiative the campaign to cut waste. And we're going to keep on finding every possible way that we can do that, even if Congress is not acting. There you go.
I wonder what happened. So you had Bill Clinton, Al Gore, Barack Obama all trying to cut waste, but now that they made a department, instead of just signing a piece of paper and actually have a separate department. And this is what is important that a lot of people are not understanding. Even though DOJ is a government department temporarily, and they may even pull some people from government office to make up the DOJ team, but I'm pretty sure they're going to do background things they said, their ideologies, their views. But this is more needed than this signing a piece of passing a legislation bill like Barack. Now, who actually investigated the waste? Who investigated the fraud, waste, and abuse? Was it the IRS? But they had fraud, waste, and abuse. So this was actually kind of smart to construct a government agency that kind of is a standalone that audits all the other government agencies, and they're not affiliated with them. They're affiliated, but they're not affiliated. Does that make sense? I think it was a good idea. It's kind of like hiring a third party to come audit you. You may audit yourself, but then you may have the federal government to audit you. But before the federal government audit you, a lot of companies who revenues billions of dollars, they do a self-audit, they do an internal audit, and they get a third-party audit just to make sure that their audit and the third-party audit align, so when the federal government comes down, they don't get highly fined. So again, this is a smoking gun. This is a smoking gun. This video right here is a smoking gun. And the only thing Elon Musk has to do is, matter of fact, I'm going to make sure I heart this. And again, I'm not on Elon Musk's side. We're talking about the transparency in government. He's just so happening to be the DOJ chief or DOJ director or DOJ leader, whatever it is. But I love the construction of the organization and what it's doing. Because again, a lot of Democrats had said things, but nothing essentially got moving. So again, I don't know how many people disagree with DOJ, but so far so good. And I'm actually happy about this, okay? I'm not, jumping around, only because of some of the things that RFK stated that he was going to do. So in a narrow 52-48 Senate vote, Robert F. Kennedy, known for his anti-vaccine stance, has been confirmed as the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services. His appointment has been met with very significant opposition from both Democrats and one Republican, included Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, who was a polio survivor. He voted against him. Kennedy's controversial views on vaccines and modern medicine have raised concerns about the future direction of public health policy under leadership. So you mean to tell me that all of these Democrats, that's why I say, guys, just don't pick a side. Don't be an independent. Don't be none of that. Just be a everyday American. And when they present legislation vote for the side with the best legislation for you. Don't get into these fear mongering. This is a bad person. He's a criminal. Well, they're pushing this agenda. Look at the legislation. It'll tell you everything you need to know. It'll tell you the legislation that they passed and what they're putting forth. And why am I saying this? Because I looked at the confirmation vote and I was highly disappointed because he barely made it. It was 52-48. He barely made it because of these damn Democrats. And again, I'm not a Republican, I'm not an independent, but these damn Democrats are so devilish, okay? And I'm only talking about with this vote, okay? I'm only talking about with this vote. I'm calling them devils only for this vote. I didn't even check how they voted on Tulsi Gabbard and other people, Pete Hegseth, I didn't check it, but I want you guys to look at this with me. This is devilish, and I'm gonna tell you why. Where is it at? Where is it at? Oh, okay, here we go. I think I have it right here. I have it right here. I want you guys to look at this from left to right. Votes in Senate by party, Democrats, 0, 0, 0. 2 independents that voted said no. And out of 53 Republicans, 1 said no. I guess that was Mitch McConnell. But I want you to look at these votes for one reason and one reason only. Robert F. Kennedy is not a Republican. He's an independent. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is not a Republican. He's an independent. Why is that significant? Because more times than not, independents tend to lean more Democratic than they do Republican, but they supposed to be in the middle. And you mean to tell me someone who helped get rid of red dye, someone who's going to come in and take poisons out of our food, so America is not the fattest, and we have the gout and high, diabetes and high cholesterol, and we suffer for obesity because of the additives and preservatives and sugars that they put in our food. They put some of the most demonstrous chemicals in our food, like maltodextrin. Look up maltodextrin. It's probably one of the worst ingredients that they put in. And they put it in our fast food. They put it in food in the grocery stores. And unfortunately, a lot of Americans who are low impoverished and part of the lower middle class, they have to get a lot of their stuff that is either frozen or canned. And that is not whole grains and whole food. It's not grass-fed and grass-finished. They can't afford those things. So you're going to vote against a guy who's trying to eradicate poisons from our food? You mean to tell me not one darn Democrat voted for RFK? Not one independent out of the 2 voted for RFK? But all the Republicans had to vote for him with the exception of 1? That is so satanic. That the Democrats, not one Democrat that voted for RFK who was an independent, who was trying to eradicate poisons from our food. I just can't fathom. It kind of makes me get into conspiracy theories. It kind of makes me think about what Kash Patel state, that there is a deep state and a lot of these liberals and Democrats are aligned with these businesses who benefit from the failure of America, especially when it comes to our health and how all of these companies are linked in. I wonder if that's true. I wonder if that, I wonder if that's true. I just can't understand how no one voted for him. And that's my take on it. Have you guys ever just asked yourselves, if you look at other independents from the past and the Democratic Party, they always say that the independents kind of split the Democratic vote because, again, they have very few conservative ideologies, but they mostly align with Democrats. So they say, why don't you guys just become Democrats and not be, and not have that conservative mind state on 2 or 3 of your issues? But they still stay in the middle. But again, they lean more left than they do right. And that's very unfortunate. Because I just, again, I don't understand how no one voted for RFK Jr. for this. I have no idea. But anyway, let's get into it this evening. If you're new to Black Logic, please subscribe to the channel. Hit that thumbs up button. But today, we're going to honor some of the toughest foundational Black Americans that we can ever set eyes upon. A time when Black men were told they wasn't smart enough, skilled enough, or brave enough to fly military aircrafts. Now I want you to imagine those same men not only proving the world wrong, but becoming one of the most successful and respected fighter pilot groups in the U.S. military history. Meet the Tuskegee Airmen, the first Black American military aviators in the United States Army Air Force during World War II. They defied racism and segregation to become elite fighter pilots. They escorted bombers on dangerous missions, never losing a single one to enemy fire. Let me repeat it again. They never lost a bomber that they escorted. Not a single one to enemy fire. They shattered racial barriers in the military, paving the way for full desegregation in the U.S. Armed Forces at a time when the U.S. government doubted Black men's ability to fly. These warriors took the skies and rewrote history. Before World War II, the U.S. military did not allow Black pilots to serve in combat and aviation. Racist policies claimed Black men lacked the intelligence and coordination and courage to be military pilots. But Black leaders, including civil rights organizations and Black press, demanded change. Under pressure, the government finally agreed to train Black pilots at Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama in 1941. And over 1,000 Black pilots trained at Tuskegee, along with Black mechanics, flight engineers, and support staff. Despite facing racial discrimination from white officers, they proved themselves as elite aviators. By 1943, they were deployed to Europe to fight against Nazi Germany. What started as an experiment became one of the most legendary aviation groups in military history. Once deployed, the Tuskegee Airmen became known for their unmatched skill in battle. They flew over 15,000 missions, proving their excellence in combat. They became highly skilled bomber escort, defending U.S. bombers from enemy fighters. They were so reliable that white bomber crews specifically requested them as escorts. Their planes were painted with red tails, earning them the nickname Red Tails. They never lost a single bomber to enemy fire, an unmatched record in U.S. military history. They called them the GOAT. They destroyed over 260 enemy aircraft, including German fighter planes, transport vehicles, and enemy supply lines, along with Nazi war naval ships. These Black pilots weren't just good. They were among the best in the entire Air Force, even as they fought against Nazi Germany. The Tuskegee Airmen also had to fight racism from their own country. They were denied equal treatment by white officers and soldiers. They were banned from using the same facilities as white pilots. Even after proving themselves in combat, they were still met with discrimination when they returned home. But they refused to give up, and their success forced the military to confront its racism. Their success led to President Harry Truman signing Executive Order 9981 in 1948, desegregating the U.S. military. They paved the way for Black officers, pilots, and military leaders. They received numerous of honors, including the Congressional Gold Medal in 2007. Their legacy inspired future generations of Black pilots and astronauts. Without them, the U.S. military might have remained segregated for decades longer. The Tuskegee Airmen didn't just fight in World War II. They fought against racism, discrimination, and the belief that Black men weren't capable of greatness. So the next time you see an Air Force pilot hear about military aviation or think of elite combat units, remember those Black men that made it possible. Those Tuskegee Airmen, or as we call them, the Red Tails. But nonetheless, we salute you fine gentlemen for the contributions you made, not only to America, but for the world. You guys were in the World War II. Nonetheless, thank you guys here for joining me this evening. You guys have a great and wonderful evening. This is Black Logic.